In a previous tutorial, we created a weather infographic in the Inovista Animator that uses a variety of animations. In this tutorial, we will export the weather infographic project as a Tableau extension. Then we will set up some sample data, load and define the extension, and then link the data so that it is a data-driven component. So let's open the Animator and load the finished project. If we stored a copy on the web, we can load it from there, or alternatively, we can load it from the local drive. So that an extension resizes automatically in Tableau, we need to ensure that the image size is percentage based. Open the Image Project section on the left and then Image Size. If the % option is not selected, then select from the toggle button here. Before exporting, we need to complete the information that the extension needs. This is done in the Export Files section found in Image Project. We can go there either via the Export Items icon on the toolbar or navigate directly in the left panel. Select the Tableau extension button to open the form dialog. This contains the information that will be required to create the extension. In Extension ID, enter a unique ID. This should be in reverse domain order, for example, com.inovista.extension, or in lowercase, and the final part being the capitalized name of the extension. Complete a version number, a textual title, the author name and email, the author organization and website. Extension URL is the full URL of the main HTML file that is created by the Inovista Animator. The full URL is the location on the server where this file is placed. Note that it must be HTTPS. Additionally, the name of the HTML file, in this case weather, will be the base name of the tracks and zip files that are created. We need to select an extension icon and it must be 60 by 60 pixels. There is also an option for a sandbox extension. We will look at this in more detail in a future tutorial. We also need some JavaScript libraries and CSS files. We can download this using the extension shared files link here or on the Inovista website. When ready, select the Create Extension button. This will add the download link for the extension, but will also place the zip on the cloud so that it can be accessed for download at a later date. I will click the current link now to download the zip. If we open up that zip file, we can see that it has created a range of files that are required for the Tableau extension. The weather HTML file is the main file that will be referenced in the extension URL. It actually contains the SVG and animation logic. The weather tracks file contains details about the extension and will need to be extracted and made available to the user when creating the extension. The weather dialog HTML file will be used to edit the extension. There are also a number of script files and images. At this point, we can upload the files to our server. I have created the server folder specifically for Tableau extensions. Let's first upload the shared files. These are the files contained in the xlibraries.zip file that we should have downloaded. Upload this to the root directory and extract. If we are not using a sandbox, we only need to do this one time, as non-sandbox extensions will always look for these files in the root directory. Then upload the zip that the animator created and extract that. We can test that the extension is correctly located by entering the extension URL entered in the Tableau form to see that it is accessible. We should see an extension error message. As a data source, we will use an Excel spreadsheet in this case. The data are listed in rows with one value for each 1 hour. Note that for the weather type, there are a number of columns, for example, thunder, clear, etc., which contains only a 1 or a 0. These values will be sent to the weather type section where a 1 will show the item and a 0 will keep it invisible. The mouth column defines whether the smiley will show a smile or a frown. If we want no effect, we could leave this blank. Logging into Tableau Online for this example, let's create a new workbook. Then under Connect to Data, we can upload the spreadsheet under Files. Once uploaded, we create a data source to be used by the extension. Drag the time field to Filters, as this will be used to select the time row data. Then drag each of the dimension and measure items we want to the detail box. Do not use measure values or measure names. Edit the filter and select Single Value List. Rename the sheet as required. Here I will use weather data. When finished, we should have a strange looking sheet. Don't worry, as this will be hidden in the dashboard. Now create a new dashboard. Drag the data worksheet to the canvas, edit it, and select Floating. In the Layout tab, set width and height to 1. This should hide the sheet and allow us to use only the data list. Now select the extension object and drag it to the canvas. It will present a Choose an Extension dialog. Click the My Extensions button and navigate it to the tracks file that was extracted from the Animator zip file earlier. This should connect us to the extension URL defined in that tracks file. Edit the extension, select Configure, and this should bring up the Extension Editor dialog. Here we will define the worksheet that will act as a data source. Do this by selecting that worksheet in the Selected Worksheet drop-down. In this case, there is only one option. Once selected, it should open two lists. One is data items in the worksheet, and the other is a list of the variables we defined in the Animator. In the Update Image section, we have the option to define when the extension is updated by the data. We can choose either when a filter changes or when a parameter changes. We can choose both if that is useful for the extension. In the Mapping section, we now link the data values to the Animator variables by dragging either a dimension or a measure to the data field. Note that one of the options is default value. Selecting this will mean that the value used will be the default value that was entered in the Animator. When ready, scroll to the bottom and select OK. Important, please note that for Tableau Online only, there appears to be a bug at this time where the values are not accepted the first time. So open Configure again and reselect OK. At this point, the extension should be working as expected. The animation should rerun with new values every time we change the hour defined in the filter. Thank you for watching this video. Please check out our other videos for more detailed tutorials on how to get the best from the Animator.